Okay, welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us at today's webinar on digital transformation in manufacturing. My name is Jane and I'm the Marketing Manager at Horsfield Smith Accountants in Bury. At Horsfield Smith, we enjoy helping SMEs achieve digital transformation within their business. It's great to see so many businesses here today looking to take the step to transform to digital processes. We will be taking questions during and after the session, so please feel free to send questions in. You can also raise your hand to ask a question. There will be a recording of the webinar available, so if you would like to receive this, please provide me with your email address. Okay, let's get started. I'd like to introduce you to our presenters today.
Hello everybody, my name's Oliver Caunt. I'm Managing Director of JCS Nuclear Solutions. We're an SME involved with the design and manufacture of radiation detection and sensing equipment.
Thanks, Oliver.
Good afternoon. My name is Mark Tooby. I'm the manager of the client outsourcing team here at Horsfield Smith. One of the services our client outsourcing team offers is to help clients with their digital transformations.
Thank you, Mark.
Hi everyone, my name is Rich Dale. I am CEO of Flowlens. Flowlens is a cloud-based CRM and MRP software platform aimed at small equipment and device manufacturing companies. It combines everything you need to manage your end-to-end business workflow from sales, operations, and after sales service. And delighted to be here today with Oliver, Mark and Jane to tell the story of how we've collaborated on the digital transformation at JCS.
Thank you, Oliver, and thanks everyone for that. I'd like to start off by asking Oliver, what pain points were you experiencing within the business that made you decide you needed to look at processes?
Thanks. I guess our main two pain points were probably data and time. For years, we've been using spreadsheets to provide essential management information, data extracted from our finance system, and often the same data presented in different spreadsheets. So where that data is always useful and good, there's always a slight risk of network duplication, of losing data within spreadsheets, renaming files, etc. So we basically evolved part of the company's operation to support the spreadsheets, which took a lot of time, many hours a week to evolve. So that's one side of the pain. But also we were operating a finance system that was designed for sales order processing and invoicing. And that had no flexibility with regards to the customer relationship manager side of stuff, the CRM functionality or MRP functionality. And when an aging ACT CRM system fell apart years ago, we made do using our own email clients, Outlook, and spreadsheets, and even the online mail shot system that we use. We've never had, or we haven't had a central CRM system for many years.
Thank you, Oliver. And why did you involve Horsfield Smith in the process, and what made you decide to use Flowlens?
Outsourcing expertise is something that we do quite well, and we have lots of partners that we work with. Horsfield Smith have been our external accountant for over 10 years, traditionally preparing our annual accounts. So we have a great working relationship with Horsfield Smith and a very strong trust. So when a member of the JCS team was retiring, we had the opportunity to seek the advice from Horsfield Smith and explore how we might drive improvements in the financial management side of the business. Horsfield Smith recommended that we adopt Xero as a cloud-based accounting system, which immediately removed one requirement for running an aging on-premise server that hosted our old systems data, and also required high maintenance software installed on all of our office computers. So Xero was a game changer already, but it doesn't provide the front end of the business. So that's, the management of the customers, contacts, suppliers, products, inquiries, quotations, sales orders, purchase orders, bills and materials, asset tracking, which is effectively the CRM and MRP function. So we spent some time researching systems that spoke to Xero. Xero has a very good app store. and quickly settled on Flowlens and another platform to trial. We had extended trials from both providers, which gave us plenty of time to explore how we could cleanse our existing data, get that ready for uploading onto new systems, and then really interrogate both systems, exploring the features and the benefits of both before unanimously agreeing that Flowlens was definitely the best fit for us.
Thank you, Oliver. And I've got a question for Mark. Do you want to add your perspective on the discovery process with JCS?
Certainly, Jane. I mean, one important point to bear in mind is that every business is unique and has its own set of needs and pain points. And as such, every business will have its own bespoke solution. But when Oliver contacted us, we agreed that we would produce a full report on their behalf. This started by us looking at what the client wanted to achieve at the end of their digital transformation. And as Oliver's already said, those areas were to integrate the operational and accounting systems, to have access to real-time data. Modern businesses now need access to real-time data. And the final part was to improve the workflows and efficiencies. As Oliver said, they were using desktop software, which was causing them problems with the fact that only one person can do it. So the way we assisted with that was, with their help, we undertook a full investigation of the accounting system from beginning to end. We reviewed the existing desktop software, we reviewed the Excel reports, we looked at how they were using that software and those reports, and it gave us an understanding of what information they needed and what reporting they needed going forward. And that helped us to understand what they wanted. So once we completed the report, we presented it to them and we discussed what was best for them. We felt that going forward, working on cloud-based software would benefit them enormously. We'd already suggested from the outset that Xero, which is a world-leading piece of software, would be ideal for their accounting function. We discussed the use of another piece of software called Dext, which is optical character recognition software. This is used for automating the process of supplier invoices and expenses. And then we finally discussed with them what looked to be a substantial need for a piece of software that could deal with their MRP and CRM requirements. We discussed the need for it to link with Xero, and we made a couple of suggestions, but of course, Oliver and his team went away, investigated what was on the market via the Xero App Store, and chose Flowlens.
Okay, thank you, Mark. Okay, Oliver, how did you achieve buy-in from staff?
Buy-in was, we kind of done half the job already. So it was more about trials and trying to break the systems during trials. So, like I said, we've already had buy-in from the team around the need to upgrade. So it was more about choosing the most appropriate platform, so the platform that fitted for us in all the different components of the business. So the trials that we did with Flowlens and another provider were really important for the whole team to understand how each part of the operation needed to interact with that system, what data we needed, and how easy it was to get what we needed in real time. One of the important lessons that we learned and discussed frequently as a team was that we needed to understand that we might need to shift our own internal procedures and processes to match a new system, learning that accessing certain data might be achieved in a slightly different way. We learned that this was vital to the success of our digital transformation. So had the opportunity to run extensive trials and gain confidence that our adjusted processes would still give us the information that we needed to run the business.
Thank you, Oliver. And Mark, how did you help JCS with the implementation process?
Thanks, Jane. So once JCS had decided that Flowlens was the best software for them and in effect greenlighted the project, then the three of us, ourselves, JCS and Flowlens, agreed on a go live date, what we were going to work to. So both Flowlens and Horsfield Smith produced a timetable to work towards that go live date. JCS worked directly with Flowlens to populate the MRP system, and we worked on the accounting side. So on the accounting side, this included us converting the data from the existing desktop software over to Xero. Once we converted that data. We then looked at cleansing it. We went through and removed unused nominal codes, duplicated data, so that it was all nice and tidy. We then looked at training the JCS staff on using Xero and Dex. This was hands-on training, down on site, showing them how the software worked. We also agreed that we would run the old desktop software parallel with Xero for a couple of months to enable us to verify that the procedures we put in place would work, but also to give the JCS staff a little bit of confidence, seeing how there was a little difference between the two systems. Going forward, we constantly kept in contact with both JCS and Flowlens to ensure that everything was going right, and that once we got to the go live date, everything was ready. And then after the go live date, we were there for support to make sure that everything worked and was still as we planned.
Thank you, Mark. And Oliver, what benefits have you experienced within the business?
It's definitely back to data and time. The most immediate transformation for the business has been the ease of access to real-time, accurate data. We've now set up in Flowlens for each of us dashboards with widgets that give us on-the-minute information on a whole range of data sets, from open sales leads, sales order book, outstanding invoices, and what purchases are due within the next month. This really helps us keep track, and in turn helps us be sort of proactive with our customers and our communication with our customers. We even have specific projects pinned to the dashboards that we need quick access to. The CRM functionality is world class. It's letting us link an inquiry to a customer or contact within a customer right from the beginning, following that inquiry all the way through, from building up a quotation to order receipt, building the product, dispatching it, and pushing the invoice out through Xero. Everything is linked, everything's traceable, and you can very obvious way you can find the information that you need in a few clicks, and that all happens within Flowlens. The MRP side of stuff, so that's the material requirements planning function, was new to us, but only in name. It was very apparent that we've been organizing stock and bills of materials by many spreadsheets, and now we can see all of that in real time, what's required by when, and it's really helping us become far more efficient.
Thank you, Oliver. Okay, I've now got a question for Rich. Why did you choose Horsfield Smith as your preferred partner?
Thanks, Jane. I think it comes back to what Mark said earlier about, every customer, every business is unique. There might be similarities in terms of the business process and things that happen, but we've always taken pride in really understanding and qualifying the kinds of customers that we know Flowlens is good for. And whenever we started working with Mark, we could see that alignment to the customer kind of journey, the business process, and the overall strategic goal was there. So we're not in the market just to sell software to whoever we can. It's important that it fits in. We're a long-term partner for the customer, and that's why it was exciting to be able to work with you guys on this and on future projects.
Thank you, Rich. And how do you support JCS with post-implementation of the software?
It happens in a couple of ways. So our process, so there's the implementation process we worked through with Oliver and Mark and the team is a well-designed series of steps that get you through those hurdles, particularly the data cleansing and so on and so forth. And that allows us to build up a good understanding of the business. So after the fact, once everything's live and operational, there's still a learning curve there. So we keep in touch with customers periodically. We check in, we see how things are going. We offer things like refresher training if there's new staff, or if there's more of the advanced features that the customer is ready to start using. And then on the other side of things, like our day-to-day help desk is there for any queries that might come up with the team that can be quickly answered by email or whatever. And then the final part of it is really about our product roadmap. So we have a very active engagement with customers and the feedback that they provide to try and figure out how we understand that, what problem it's solving. and how we can factor that into the roadmap or the future developments. So and again, then we keep in touch with customers as that feedback loop turns into reality. And sometimes those are simple, small things that happen in the product, but other times there's a lot of development going on behind the scenes on new functionality, and that'll be ready later this year. And again, Oliver has been helpful in feeding back his ideas into how that will work and how that will help the business.
Okay, thank you, Rich. Well, that concludes our session today. Does anyone have any questions they would like to ask the presenters?
I would jump in there, Jane, just while people are thinking about that. I want to pop a question in the chat. Oliver, I'm interested just on a role by role basis. How much time do you actually reckon you save yourself on a weekly basis, and like other key people in the business, particularly maybe on the MRP side or the sales side? How does that actually turn out in terms of?
I think, I'm sure it's hours per week in terms of the spreadsheets that we were using and effectively management was demanding of the business were very high maintenance and needed a lot of data entry, but validating as well. So we've removed, I would say, 90% of the manual spreadsheets that we were doing. So that's good several hours a week, I would say, that we're doing, maybe even more than that. So just on that side of stuff. So that's things like the cash flow forecasts and the job costings and sales order summaries and that kind of stuff. So it's definitely hours in that respect. In terms of accessing data that we need, whether it's what's the order book look like, all the rest of it, all of that's immediate now. So again, many hours a week, I would say, that we're doing that we would have traditionally been doing, also like writing a report and that, making sure that it's up to date, exporting data, bringing it in. So yeah, I'll probably, between all of us, definitely as a team, probably saving 2 or 3 hours a week. So that's at least a day and a half a week that we're saving.
And what's the impact of that? What does that turn into in terms of other things you can do with your time?
It's it makes us more efficient with our customers. Definitely, it's really helping with the planning, and we run quite a lean organization where we're relying on components and equipment coming in before they're assembled and to come out the door. So with up-to-date information like that, we can respond. If there's an issue, we can respond and alert our customers a lot sooner. Or we can alert our customers that things are arriving a lot faster, which is always a good thing. So we're a lot more efficient in how we communicate with our customers, which is priority one anyway. So as well as that, in terms of just having the real-time information. So when you log in the morning and your Flowlens screen's there and all your dashboards are there, you can see the red lights and the green lights and where we are and what we need to do and stuff. So we're just a lot more efficient a machine, which means that we can spend more time nurturing new business or actually spending time hanging out with our customers and suppliers more.
Another question there has come in about quality management. How quality sometimes lives beside the day-to-day, but how have you been able to bring quality management into sort of a real-time practice?
Yeah. We're starting, and we're starting to realise the power of Flowlens in terms of what we can do, which is great. So we do have another online quality management system, which we've had for many years, and it's very good, and so we like that. But that's given us is an understanding of what data we need to capture. There's a really nice feature in Flowlens called Forms, where we can write a form to suit anything, whether it's a customer or a supplier, a product or an asset, or even a service job, a repair job, whatever it may be. So for example, we have to commission equipment before it goes out, and we have to do a series of checks that suit and match our quality management sort of requirements of a product. And before, that used to be done on a separate form spreadsheet that we would sort of print out, take the data, save it and save on file. And now we can do that right within the asset that we're working on before that goes out. So again, it's the immediacy of data and it's the ease of data entry. So this morning I've been setting up 4 bits of kit. So we know what the serial numbers are, they're all set up. I've done the compliance checking, I've done the testing, date stamped it all, signed it all off, basically. So it's that kind of stuff on a day-to-day practicality is really good. We're also starting to incorporate customer and supplier questionnaires as forms. That's very useful. So that's for feedback, as well as just making sure that our supply chain is still compliant. They have all of their quality management and we've got all of their insurances, all that kind of stuff too. So, and again, they were always separate processes that we did, and now we can have that set up and pretty much automated to remind us that we need to do something on a regular basis, and the form we can capture there and then, and it lives and dies within the customer's record.
Okay, there's a question that's come in here. How much time was involved from moving from manual systems to cloud-based systems?
It kind of went hand in hand with, sorry, is that for me?
Sorry, Oliver,
yeah. It kind of went hand in hand with the trials. And what we learned during the trials, if I focus on the trials that we did with Flowlens, and we spend a lot of time almost in Flowlens understanding what we need to do to cleanse our data to get it ready. And that took time, and I'd recommend that you have one champion within the company that does that, that spends time really sort of like cleansing the data from your old system. So we were running a Sage system, export that, understand the fields that you need to do, and then spend the time getting that clean and ready to go before you import it in. The actual importing of our cleansed data into Flowlens was really, really quick. It was literally a matter of, sort of uploading it, validating it and checking it. I can't speak for Horsfield and what you guys did in terms of importing our data from Sage into Xero. That might be a different story because there's a lot more complexity in there. But definitely, I would say a good couple of weeks from start to finish in terms of spending time validating it, cleansing the data, and then getting it set up. And really, yeah, the hard work is before you move the stuff into the Flowlens system.
On the accounting side, it's not quite as long as that, but you're in a situation where you're looking at transferring accounting data at a fixed date, a month end or a back quarter end. And as Oliver said, a similar sort of thing with accounting data. You need to try and cleanse it as much as possible. You want to transfer across the cleanest data that you can. And then one of the other areas that you've got to look at is obviously your systems, your internal systems. They might be designed, we'll say Sage, for using Sage in one way, and Xero may do something slightly differently. And so you've got to look at your own internal systems as well. And Oliver made a very, very, very valid point earlier on, which is that with software, off-the-shelf software, sometimes you've got to amend your own internal system slightly to get them to fit the software. So it's time-wise, converting the data and everything else is a couple of days. Normally there'd be some training as well involved, because obviously you want your staff to be able to literally, from day one, work the software, run it and run it efficiently.
I'd also add that we had the opportunity to do the data transfer during the trial phase, so we could make a mistake and then reset it and do it again. So that was really useful from the Flowlens team in terms of just training how to do the data transfer and understanding the different categories that we could start using with our products and customers and suppliers, that kind of stuff too. Very good.
And I will reiterate the point that both Rich and I made, which is that every single client is different. So, it would always require a full review to decide what was needed. Some are very easy and some would be a lot more complex and take a lot more time.
I was going to come back to that point, Mark, because we always recommend customers map out their processes, whiteboard, post-it notes, whatever floats your boat, but you get it out on paper, get as much of the team involved in that exercise to see how we do things currently. And then that gives you a good idea of really where the requirements fall, where the real pain points and the essential features are. Because if you don't do that, you don't really have your own blueprint for your own business. So that was something that you guys did, Oliver, early on in the process.
Yeah, so it's because we've got quite a robust quality management system, we almost have those processes mapped out already. So it was quite nice just to put those as a headline, as you say, across a big whiteboard. And so these are the bits that we need. We did that as part of almost the scoping sort of phase as well, to does Flowlens meet all of these requirements that we have and stuff. And some of our own, like I said, we had to adjust, but that's something that I highly recommend in terms of digital transformation, adjusting your own unique little processes, and have an expectation that systems like Flowlens and Xero will be able to give you the data, maybe in a different way, but you'll get what you need.
Good stuff.
Okay, does anybody have any further questions? Okay, well, thank you to the speakers and the participants for attending our session today. We hope you found it useful and informative. We will be sending you a survey to complete, which will only take a few minutes. So thank you again to everyone and enjoy the rest of your day.